for me, it's always been just about, do you really want to just take the short-term feel-good moments, or do you want to do something that's going to be lasting and everlasting? It's one of the reasons we've stayed here so long. I've had many, many opportunities to leave, but Texas A&M is a destination, I think.
Going on, everyone? This is the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. I'm Travis Brown, senior Texas A&M sports writer here at KBTX. I'm joined over here, sports director Tyler Shaw. This is the dad episode because we have Tyler over here, but then we also have our director of special projects Alex Egan over here.
It's really no different than before, right?
Max That's true. Max is also.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Max is the two newest dads.
Newest,
newer
yes.
dads episode.
And Max is dead. Gave up on the Aggies this week, so he left. He got out of town. Said, "I'm done."
They reached the peak of the hype, and he said, "I can't handle this."
Can't handle it.
He's become an Oklahoma State fan.
Local, trusted. This is KBTX News.
That shows that I had a great sleep last night. These two schmucks are exhausted.
Yeah, we're tired.
Still trying to catch up.
So if one of them falls asleep, I'll throw a shoe at him, and if I
to
don't hear
trade,
from them,
for
maybe they
example,
just-
or really
just let 'em
anything else
sleep.
that pertains to
disagree
national
with you,
security.
so
So what the Trump administration is leaning on in their arguments is that President Trump took the action
if
with
he's
these tariffs
napping over
to
here,
correct
it's fine.
severe trade
just don't
imbalances
wake him.
and
Shout out
also
to Robert
stem
Cessna,
the
who
flow of
acknowledged
fentanyl
my
into
lack
the
of
United
sleep as I
States.
was
They
emailing
argue
him my
that
pride
revenue
pics in
is
the middle
not
of the
goal
night.
Here. National security concerns are.
If anybody knows,
Justice
and
is
Tyler
highly
sent this to me, if
skeptical
anybody
of
knows
how
the
the
great,
Trump
the
administration
legendary Robert
is
Cessna
using that
over
law
at
or the
Eagle.
interpretation of the law.
He
Conservative
only
Justice Amy
uses
Coney Barrett, for
subject
example,
lines.
said, has there ever been a
the
case
entire
where
body
a
of
tariff
the
or a
email
duty has
is
been
in the subject
imposed?
line, and
Does
you
it
sent me that.
explicitly say that in the
If
law?
you have one of those
So a lot of
email
tough questions coming
systems
from the
that,
justices
won't show
today
you
for
the
both
whole-
sides here
so that
as
if
they
it's
weigh
too
these
long,
arguments.
that you just don't know what half the message
Yes.
is. So
Just guess.
we're just going to jump right into the matchup this week because we have a little special treat here, and I guess I probably shouldn't have gone right
well,
to the
small
stinger,
businesses and a number of small business owners were
we have a
joined
little
by
special
some
treat
Democratic
here.
senators
I'm producing on the
before
fly.
the
It's
arguments
great.
began at the Supreme Court
we,
to talk about their own
Tyler,
personal
just
experiences
minutes ago,
about importing
talked to
products
the
that
great,
are
G
crucial
Guerrieri,
to their
former
businesses. There
Texas
is a
A&M
coffee
soccer
shop owner,
coach,
for
talking
example,
about
from Georgia, who said that she
retirement,
started
looking
her
back on
business
his
in her
career.
kitchen,
We're
and now
gonna have
she
that
is
whole
getting
video
priced
up
out because
on
coffee
KBTX.com,
prices have
but I also
skyrocketed.
I'm gonna
It's not
throw it
something you
in
can grow
on
here in the
end
United
of
States
the
primarily. So
podcast today,
small
because I think
business
there was
owners
some pretty,
sharing
cool things said there. Tyler, just real, from that experience, what would people have to expect when they hear that later in the show?
Well, it's to me, it was authentic and genuine. It's a guy that's just meant a lot to the community. The community's meant a lot to him the past 3+ decades. He's really just embraced Aggie land, being a fixture here and just being involved. He said he's going to continue to be involved in college soccer. I think that was my biggest takeaway is, yes, he's hanging it up and he's retiring, but he wants to be involved in this sport and he wants to see A&M thrive. And he really championed for, A&M to open up their checkbooks. And, there's a lot of NIL money right now. Slide some of that over to soccer because he really thinks this is kind of a hotbed. And state of Texas recruiting, it should be. It might be a little bit of a sleeping giant right now, the state of Texas A&M soccer right now.
It was kind of cool because he mentioned some of his first interviews when he became coach 33 years ago was with Daryl Bruffett here, and he's been in the studio that's right next door to us here and was kind of, so weather was over here and sports was over there, and I'm like a year into this. We're like, I heard about that.
Right.
That
Before
tells
our
you
time.
the extent of time he's been in this community. So we'll have that for you after we talk a little bit about the matchup this week.
Hey, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, perfect dismount. Texas A&M takes on Missouri this weekend. The Tigers are 6-2, 2-2 in the SEC. Of course, A&M is undefeated. That is Saturday at 2:30 at Memorial Stadium at Faurot Field on ABC. A&M is number 3 in the college football playoff rankings. Missouri number 22. Guys, we talked. Tyler and I talked for a while last night about the college football playoff rankings and our rankings reaction live stream. So we will probably won't touch too much on that in this podcast. If you want a little bit more of our thoughts on A&M's ranking, the rankings, the brackets, you can go back on KBTX.com and listen to that. But this matchup is going to be pretty huge for A&M if they have postseason aspirations and wanting to move up the seeding, because this is one of two final ranked matchups that the Aggies have this season, and it's probably, I don't know, Texas is kind of coming on late, but at least as of right now, it might be the tough.
Yeah.
I don't know. At DKR is going to be. It's the first time that Texas fans will welcome A&M back to DKR in over a decade. Right? That's going to be a tough environment regardless. It was a tough environment for Texas coming to A&M last year. That will be a tough environment. Will it matter in terms of ranking? Who knows at that point? You know, we've seen some crazy things happen, and the volatility this year seems like more than ever. The volatility of the top 25, specifically from like 15 to 25, can't really sort itself out. It's kind of been a revolving door in that back half of this top 25, which matters not when you need the top 12, but it does matter to the top 12.
I'll say, let me rephrase what I was about to say. On paper, this seemed like it was going to be the toughest test because, as we'll pull up here, Missouri has a pretty stout team, especially on defense.
And it might be it might be the most consequential. When you look at Missouri and we talked about the rankings 22, they're going to be playing desperate.
Of the applicable data, and that
it might be an outside chance, but there is still some hope of a playoff berth. Or if you're Missouri,
remember,
if you win out, you're about to put
for out of these funds
number 3 ranked win on your resume if they go in and beat Texas A&M. So that would be huge for Missouri sliding into the playoff bowl. We talked about it's going to be huge for A&M because you look at Ohio State, Indiana, their competition right now for the seeding. They don't have this on their resume. They don't have a at 22nd ranked Missouri and then an at ranked Texas. So A&M's got so much opportunity here, and you're right. This is going to be a tough matchup. Mike Elko even said it's probably the toughest defensive line they've had to face. The good news is so far A&M's offensive line has been great at protecting Marcel, at paving the way for the run game, but they haven't had a test like this yet.
Yeah,
so that'll be interesting.
Let's look at a little bit of the tail of the tape. These are some of the stats that stood out to me. Both teams good at total offense. Missouri 472 yards per game. That's 14th. A&M ranks 31st. Total defense. Missouri has the 5th best defense in the country, averaging 245 yards per game. A&M is 31st, 321
But I think it's a tremendous
yards.
mistake. Really. It would be a tragic
The red zone
mistake,
offense,
actually.
A&M has a pretty good red zone offense.
Time.
They're good at putting points on the board. What is it? I think they've only 2 times they've missed putting points on the board when they've been in the red zone this season. But the red zone defense, now they do force a lot of field goals. This is just points on the board when you look at the statistic red zone defense, but they're 129th in the nation. Missouri 83rd. That's something to look at, and both teams are good at sacking the quarterback. A&M averaging 4 sacks a game. Missouri averaging 2.88. Now, the biggest point to highlight in all of this is the fact that Missouri will be without their starting quarterback, Bo Pribula, and Matt Zollers, the freshman, will be in there for them. He came in late in the Vanderbilt game, and as a true freshman, went 14 for 23 for 138 yards and a touchdown, even though they couldn't pull out the win. It is a new quarterback. It is a freshman who doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's a guy that was highly recruited. We talked to Daryl Dickey earlier this week in the film study. He said he's a guy who he watched in high school and was highly touted there. Curious to see what this Missouri offense is going to look like with the freshman in there.
He's a guy that Daryl Dickey, because he's watched him play, so he's not very mobile. So it's going to be a huge game for
lay your
Cassius
head
Howell.
at the end.
Make him uncomfortable,
and if you bounced around all these times,
force him out of the
gone
pocket.
to different places,
because
then
that's where it's
sometimes
dangerous
it's
if you
hard
have
to
an unknown
figure out
guy
where
that can also
is home?
scramble.
What does home look like?
And A&M's
For me,
been known
it's always been just about
to give up a lot of yards to
do you really
want
to just take the
this guy doesn't at least seem to fit that bill,
or do you want to do
so
something?
I think that's going to be huge for Cassius Howell and the edge rushers that get to him, make him uncomfortable, because it seems like he'll be able to kill you in the pocket and throwing the ball. Maybe not so much, working on the fly and creating plays with his legs. So I think that's going to be key for A&M's defense.
I'm going to give you two sides of the same coin here. The one side is it's a freshman making his first collegiate start, right? Not his first collegiate game, but making his first collegiate start. He's going up against the number 3 team in the country with a defense that has clearly been the thing that they've hung their hat on.
Local, trusted. This is KBTX News.
And they get after the quarterback, number 1 in the country. So that is a thing that could work against the Zollers this weekend. The other thing, they've had a week to prepare, right? They had the week off, right? So he's got that extra week built in. Does that week benefit him, or does he get into his own head and think about the number 3 team in the country coming to your team, coming to your stadium in your first collegiate start? So I think that that's what will be interesting to see is how composed he is at the start of the game, or really, I guess maybe the second series. Right? We talked in the past in a pod that didn't happen, Rip, about the script. Right? Each team kind of scripts out that first series and how good it will look, and then it's kind of from there you adjust to what the defense is giving you. Likewise, the defense will adjust to what the offense is doing. But that script, the scripted plays, usually the first 10 or 12 of a game, are ones that they will have practiced a lot in the week before and the week in the open week and the week leading up to A&M. What will he look like after those scripted plays? I think that's going to be the real key to what if A&M is successful. I'll throw in another point here that I do think is important, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Missouri's stadium is going through some pretty major renovations,
yes.
Right? And so, what kind of an atmosphere are you going to get at 2:30 at Missouri? If you remember, what was it? You can see it. Yeah. What was it? Was it when they were there in 21? It was like an 11 a.m. kick, I think.
It was a day game, early.
And it was like just like a weird atmosphere there. And A&M, I think that was A&M's last road win.
It was rainy. I think it was kind of cold and rainy.
Yeah, that was their last road win before
the
Mike
streak
Elko took over. And
So there's some history there. Obviously, different regime and all that, but what kind of atmosphere are you going to get there at Memorial Stadium with? They've been okay.
Dairy Queens.
For a reason, but there's a lot of things working in A&M's favor here for this week, and I say all that with the caveat, the asterisk of like A&M should win this game, no problem.
Yeah,
freshman quarterback making his first start. Stadium atmosphere may not be the best. Missouri is a unique place to play, anyways. With how that stadium is built.
John Wilson, who worked here, would say that was probably his least favorite place to go.
Yeah.
He did not like traveling to Columbia.
Once you're in the stadium, it feels like a college stadium, but from the outside, man, you kind of roll up and it feels like a Texas high school stadium.
From the TV, it kind of looks that way too. Wherever they have the TV cameras, they're at an odd angle from what you're used to watching a game from. So A&M should have no problem winning this game. All that to say, this is the perfect recipe for a trap game. I don't like to use trap game, but that's what this should be an easy convincing win. Not easy, nothing's easy in the SEC, but should be a convincing win for A&M. And yet, that should linger in the back of your head that if you don't go take care of business and do what you do, you're going to walk out of there with a loss.
Do you think, and last night we talked a little bit about the Mac Rhodes, the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee, saying that the differentiator between Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M were the defensive stats. We can even go back over to our ranking show from last night and pull those up. That Ohio State and Indiana, far and away, better defensive stats than A&M. But also, there's not necessarily a better strength of schedule.
Did you guys Paul this? Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
Who have they played?
Yeah.
Mike Elko, we talked to him today in the SEC teleconference, and he was very dismissive of
There's only certain places where you can lay your head at the end. And if you've bounced around all
dismissive of the idea of rankings in general and what people would have to say about their
There's
team
only certain
at this
places where
point
you
in
can
the
lay your head
season,
at the
but
end.
This is a
And
team
if you've
that,
bounced around
that
all
loves
these times,
being
you've gone to
aggrieved.
different places.
Yes.
This is a team that
then
loves
sometimes it's hard
being,
to figure out
He's
what's
singing a
being
different
told-
tune if he's in like that 13, 14, 15 range.
yeah. Well, this is a team that loves being slighted and making note, and that the narrative wasn't in their favor. And I would have to bet that the entire rest of the week, Mike Elko is in those defensive rooms or however, and they are constantly hammering in the point that they said, well, the reason why we're not number one is because of the defense.
Oh.
It's your guys that y'all need to step it up. I think this is going to be I don't know if the output of the defense, this is a good offense. They're going to give up some yards. They're going to give some points. But think Cassius Howell at LSU in that first series where he is pacing around like a man possessed. I kind of feel like that's the vibe that this A&M defense is going to take into the game.
They have Mac Rhodes on repeat in all of their monitors saying that Texas A&M's defense isn't as good as Ohio State and Indiana. They have it plastered on their bulletin boards. This is Mike Elko said, I don't pay attention to that. 100% pays attention to it. And this is bulletin board material.
Yes.
And going back to the LSU game, the defense did not play well in the first half. All the momentum was going to LSU. Kind of right after that touchdown that LSU scored to go up, they were up 18-14 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Elko was in their face and just chewing them out. And I mean, it was loud. If you were sitting in the stands, you could hear him just screaming at his defense.
Now,
And, what are you guys
trusted.
doing? Basically,
This
get your head in the
is
game.
KBTX
And
News.
from that point on, the defense took over the game. That second half, they just shut LSU down. So, yes, I think that this is, for whatever reason, this defense, they've been very up and down this year. They've had some very high points. They've kind of, allowed some teams to gash them at times. But they respond well to whatever that is of just, what are you guys doing? They like that motivation. And I think this is perfect motivation leading up to a game like this. You add in the fact that it's a freshman quarterback and you have a guy like Cassius Howell that can just get this thing rolling. So, yeah, I think from the get-go, we're going to see a little nastiness from this defense.
I think Drinkwitz is like, what are you doing? You don't need to do that. Was Missouri the blanket?
Yes.
Yes.
And I want to talk. I want to touch on that too because this is a kind of a fun little rivalry in recent history.
I mean, it goes back to Big 12 days, right? Like that's what's fun about this. That these were the two that moved from the Big 12 together, right? So they've kind of been playing each other. We missed a couple years there.
They've only played. This is going to be the fifth time they've played since they've joined A&M. Joined the SEC.
They actually didn't. They've only played 17, I think, total times in history.
Yeah.
It started with the Big 12.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting history. But yeah, I asked, resetting that, you had which wide receiver was it for Missouri? One of the wide receivers, one of their Weiss.
Theo
Weiss, I believe, posted on his Instagram the night before that somebody left in the team hotel a blanket, an A&M blanket, because Will Lee is known as the blanket.
Yep.
It was kind of supposed to be from Will Lee. I've asked Eli Drinkwitz twice about that, and both times he kind of just said, yeah, we're, I'm just more concerned about how much we didn't show up to play for that game, about anything that happened before the game. But we do know that, I'm not pointing any fingers, but we do know that Eli Drinkwitz enjoys a bit. He did get on the SEC teleconference before the Alabama game and got onto Kellen DeBoer's time to take questions and asked him if he's going to be wearing a black hoodie. Because he was 3-0 in the black hoodie or whatever that. So he does enjoy a bit.
And Drinkwitz is great for a soundbite too. I love that about him. He's a great character. Also interesting with it, we got that blanket connection. If you remember, last year's game it was a drubbing, 41-10. Drinkwitz spoke before that game saying Marcel's their guy. We know that they're going to roll out Marcel. He's their future. They're going to play Marcel. What did they end up doing? Well, they started Connor Wigman, and Wigman lit them up. That was probably Wigman's best. I'd have to go back. I want to almost say best game as an Aggie, but definitely best game last year was that Missouri game. Well, that kind of came back to bite. Well, now it is Marcel. So I'm curious to see, is Drinkwitz actually prepared for Marcel this time? Because it was
one would hope.
He wanted to be prepared for him last year, and he didn't even get to see him. Now he's going to see Marcel. what's that going to be like for Missouri's defense? Are they actually going to be ready for a quarterback like Marcel?
So Missouri's defense needs to be ready for Mario Craver.
Yeah.
That
They didn't have those guys last year.
No, they did not, and they got 41 on them last year. They hung 41 on them, and they didn't have those two awesome playmakers.
And I'll argue, and I've said this on different radio shows and stuff like that. Yeah, last year A&M had Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart, Shamar Turner, 3 NFL guys. But the ability, as we saw in the stats earlier, the ability to get to the quarterback and bring the quarterback down, A&M's better at it. They're just flat out better at bringing the quarterback down and actually getting those sacks than they were last year. And that's when they had 3 NFL guys. I think this is a different challenge even than last year on that defensive front with the freshman quarterback.
I think what plays into that too is a second year into Elko's system, right? You got a lot of people understand, its players understand more the concepts and what they're trying to do. I think last year getting to the quarterback was easy because those dudes were dudes, right? And that's just pure talent that they had, that you didn't need a scheme to for them to be effective. But you take dudes and a scheme, and then it becomes a real problem.
Starts to show up on the stat page.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, too, that what's scary about this defense, anytime their opponent gets to third down, it almost just feels like it's over.
Yeah.
You know, like if you make it to third down, like your drive's over. You know, you're either getting sacked, it's going to be a 4th and long. The drive stopped there. So you better move those chains on 1st and 2nd down because A&M has just shut them down.
This does remind me of I worked in Fargo, North Dakota for a long time, covered North Dakota State football, and they're in the middle of their dynasty run, which they're seemingly still on. But their defense was like if you didn't get a first down on 1st or 2nd down, the drive was you weren't getting anywhere on 3rd down. It didn't matter if it was 3rd and short, 3rd and 1. You weren't getting that first down. They were so good at 3rd down defense. That is such a huge mental thing for the other offense. If you can only get, if you're only getting first downs because of like a big chunk play, if you're not grinding down a defense, it's so demoralizing. You have to be able to sustain drives in order to, 1, give your defense a break, but 2, give yourself some confidence that you can move the football at will. And you're right, Tyler, like this defense reminds me a lot of what that NDSU defense did and how dominant they were. Granted, yes, I get it, FBS, SEC football versus FCS. But it was still the same, level against level. And 3rd down is such a huge thing. I know that the coaches, we were in that post-game press conference in Florida. I was at the Florida game. And that was while A&M was on that crazy run of like 1 3rd down conversion over the last 30 tries or whatever it was. And Elko was like knocking on wood. He understands how important 3rd down is as a defensive coach. So you're right. 3rd down, it's crucial. And A&M's been so good at it.
And A&M's, 3rd down is like Mike Elko's thing.
Yeah.
Like ever since he went back to Bowling Green, he has decided that like the hallmark of his defense is going to be 3rd down, especially 3rd and longs. And so the schemes and
it is so demoralizing to an offense.
Yeah.
You can't pick up a 3rd down.
And it seems like it's demoralizing to an offense if you get in the situation where you're 3rd in mid-range to 3rd and long, where okay, we're going to get one of Mike Elko's special 3rd
some
down
exotic
packages
look
right here. Yeah, that is going to be
no idea where the pressure's
going to be wild.
You're going to have those special packages with a freshman quarterback, and if you're in a 3rd and long, if you want to convert, that's going to have to be a pass play. This Missouri offense has some pretty good running backs, so that's going to kind of hurt them too if they can't, pick up these 5-6 yard chunk plays to get 3rd and short or even convert on the first down. Oh, it's going to be a long day for that Missouri offense because you're not really going to be able to showcase those running backs as much.
Obvious passing downs will be the death of Missouri in this game. If they have to stay in obvious passing downs, it's going to be a long day for them. Because you're right, they have great running backs. They're great utilizing that, and that's probably what they're going to try to do, right? Shorten the game up, run the football, take the heat off of your freshman quarterback. But that only works if your defense can stop the other side, because if you're not scoring and the other side is, and you're shortening up the game, it doesn't work in your favor.
Yeah. Prediction time? How we feeling?
So I've kind of had. I actually haven't thought hard on this one. This is kind of difficult to me because I could see it being a convincing win. I could also see it being, right now, I think I'm going to go A&M 34, Missouri 24. I think right around that 1-score to 2-score victory for A&M. I just think they get on them early. Missouri's going to have to be playing catch up, and just not enough. They have that kind of separation.
I think it is. I think the game will end worse than it will actually be. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 41-17 final. But I think that it's a closer game. Like, it's a 1-score game heading into the fourth quarter, and A&M pulls away.
That's not a bad.
Sort of like LSU.
That's not a bad thought.
Close.
All right, that's about does it for the time we have to break down that game. But next, let's hear from Tyler's conversation with former Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri.
Over 40 years ago, my parents started C&J Barbecue, and today we continue to honor Dad's legacy with the best barbecue in the Brazos Valley. With locations on Harvey Road, Southwest Parkway, and our newest location on William Joe Bryan, we carry on our family tradition of serving up award-winning barbecue, sides, and desserts. We also offer delivery, catering, as well as custom menus and private chef services. Come visit us today for some of the best barbecue around. C&J Barbecue. The C is for Chip, the J is for Joe, and the barbecue is for you.
Joining me is former Texas A&M soccer coach G Guerrieri. Kind of weird to say that former part now. Recently retired, 5th all-time on the NCAA wins leaderboard, over 500 wins, 28 tournament appearances. I could go on and on the resume. 33 years. Texas A&M, it's been your home the past 3+ decades. Just kind of your initial thoughts of just early retirement and what this has been like for you, G.
Well, it's been an absolute dream mostly. When I remember when A&M posted that they were going to start a women's soccer program, and I was getting ready to get married to an Aggie, and said, "Hey, would you mind typing up my resume and let's see about that?" And then when we got the opportunity to come down for my interview and stayed at the old Holiday Inn, which is now a assisted living place on Texas Avenue, and met all the incredible people. I remember just as I was going through that interview process on, the last day of March in 1993, just on how, wow, there's so much potential here. This is something that we could really make a lot of fun, and we could, I think, have a lot of success. This 12th man thing really works out really well with proper football. So all of that, and then you fast forward through all the championships, all the great players, all the remarkable experiences that we've had. It really has been a dream. A colleague of mine, and I'll use his phrase, but I wake up and I go to recess every day, and that's really the way it's been. It's been the ability to recruit great people here, to see them matriculate through, to see them go off and do great things in the world, whether it's as athletes, but also just as as mothers and business leaders and everything else. It's been pretty cool.
So when you got here, you said you saw the potential. Would you have ever dreamed of when you starting out all those years ago that you would have 28 tournament appearances, going to the College Cup, the Elite Eight appearances, the 5-time Conference Coach of the Year? I mean, was any of that on your radar? Could you have seen where this would have taken you?
Well, I would say at that time, arrogantly, yes. I mean, because growing up in Texas, you knew that there's these two behemoths that if you can just get them to think about soccer and to really take it seriously, then the sky's the limit. Because one of the things I remember in an initial interview, might have been with KBTX out at what's now Bachman Park, and the Pavilion was my first introduction to the community that night. I said, well, we plan to dominate Texas, and we're going to get. My goal is to recruit and bring in at least 2 of the top 5 recruits from Texas every year. Well, when I said we're going to dominate Texas, there was all these whoops from the back. I mean, they're thinking about the school in Austin, right, which we did dominate, and went on to dominate, I think 21-7 or something over the years. But what I was talking about was that we wanted this to be the first choice of kids being raised in Texas, because we can recruit national team players, we can recruit some amazing winners that were here in Texas. And then we could go outside Texas to find special players to kind of spice things up a little bit. And so we started out as with a focus on the state. Then we expanded regionally, and then we've expanded nationally, and even a couple looks overseas. But by and large, Texas is our first name, so it's always been where we wanted to go. And like I said, going all the way back to those old Lone Star beer commercials with the national beer of Texas, we wanted to be the national team of Texas. And if you look at, again, 12 Big 12 championships, 6 SEC championships, all kind of carrying the Texas flag has always been a real point of pride for us.
Yeah, I mean, a big point of state pride there. What has it meant to you building this program from the ground up and being, up to this point, the only head coach at Texas A&M?
Well, a little overwhelming. I mean, it's when not to look at it now and to go back and see all of that. And I mean, I just got my watch fixed today because when we announced, my retirement, last week, I got between 500 and 600 text messages. Just bang, bang, bang. My Apple Watch exploded. So I finally got it back down to 0 on text messages. But that's how it's been. It's just been like all the really nice comments, the really positive things that have been said by both my players, by our coaches, by our friends, and even our rivals around the country. It's been pretty cool.
What has been, when you look at your time here, kind of the part of this job that's meant the most to you?
Well, the people, of course. I think also being able to raise my family here has been, I tell the story a lot of times about my oldest daughter, Emily. She was in the first graduating class at College Station High School. And a lot of the coaches' kids go to the same school. They hang out with each other. We're kind of our own little fraternity of sorts. And she was over at Kevin Sumlin's house because she was friends with Coach Sumlin's daughter. Rob Childress' daughter was there, and some others. And they were like going, "So Emily, you were born here in College Station?" And she goes, "Yeah, College Station." She lives in Manhattan now, by the way. So
a little different.
Yeah. So she's College Station, whatever. And they're like going, "And your dad's a coach, and you lived here your whole life?" She goes, "Yeah." "Why?" And so someone's like going, "Well, we had Purdue, we had this," and going down the litany of Oklahoma, Houston, this. "Oh yeah, we started here, they're there." And so when she came home, she was like going, "Is it unusual to be in one place for so long?" I was like, "No, we've been blessed. This has been, and especially to be in this community that's so warm and engaging. It's really been a blessing." And then, same thing with my boys. They've had incredible experiences. My son was, the kicker on the state champion football team at College Station High. My son was an all-district goalkeeper at Consol after they changed the school district lines, and just all the people that we've met, as much through our kids, but especially through Aggie soccer and through the athletic department. We've had I've gone through, I think I'm on my 12th president right now.
Wow.
At Texas A&M, where I was on my 12th president, and all of that, the changes, the size of the city, the doubling of the size of the school since they went into the SEC. The roads are still the same except for the center medians, but everything else has been just a remarkable, to look back at it as a time capsule and see all the positive things that have happened.
Yeah, I mean, you've been a fixture and involved in this community the time that you've been here, and you're not going anywhere. You plan to stay, I guess, involved in this BCS Bryan College Station community moving forward. Yeah, and I'm on the. I'll stay connected to college soccer as well. I'm not going to. I've had some great conversations the last week. RC gave me a call. Gary Blair, Ori Corbelli. Again, Rob Childress. All of the former coaches. And one of the things I was saying with RC was just how much I respected him for not jumping at another job, because I think he was called by Baylor and by all these schools within like 10 minutes of being let go from A&M, and he recognized, and I think I've recognized through what a lot of our other coaches have seen, is there's only certain places where you can lay your head at the end. And if you've bounced around all these times, you've gone to different places, then sometimes it's hard to figure out like where is home?
what does home look like? And I don't think of Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal. He's a Cowboy, and so it's cool that he got to retire as a Cowboy. But that's something that for myself, I'm 63, so it's just a matter of or I'm 62. I will be 63 in the spring. But for me, it's always been just about, do you really want to just take the short-term feel-good moments, or do you want to do something that's going to be lasting and everlasting? It's one of the reasons we've stayed here so long. I've had many, many opportunities to leave, but Texas A&M is a destination, I think, and it's been, it's my wife's alma mater. I think that's why I was hired in the first place, was because Aggies take care of Aggies, so they're looking after Terry. But it's also been a great place for us because we've been able to have these roots. We've been able to establish things. And so now, for me, the next thing for me is I'm the head of our National Coaches Association for women's college soccer. So I think that sport has been held in idle by certain groups, and it'll be my job initially, as a volunteer, but initially to start out with hundreds of other coaches around the country to try to, make sure that it's a stronger place on the college landscape to look after women's sports in this new revenue sharing world, and to try to remind people that female athletes are special, and they're going to be leaders. They are leaders, and they're some of the best business leaders, doctors, lawyers, everything in the world because of what the sport has taught them. And it's important that we protect this important education piece to go forward. So that'll be a lot of what I do. Like I said, I'm on the NCAA, the new NCAA oversight committee for women's soccer. So I'll be on that through 2029. That'll keep me mostly off the streets. I stay on the sidewalks when I walk in the evenings, but it's, again, I just want to serve. I'm still president of the Cavalry Youth Soccer Club here in town, and that's more of an advisor. Rick Seabolt is the head of coaching of that and does a wonderful job, as does Laura Marietta, who's the general manager. And we've got our charity golf tournament coming up. If I can plug that for a minute. Yeah, of course. But that's something people who are looking to try to help out local families. Annually, we do a big tournament out at Traditions. Last year it wasn't as big because they were redoing all the fairways and everything else. Well, now the course is immaculate. It's back in shape. And our charity golf tournament is on Monday, December 8th, and out at Traditions. You can go to coachggolf.com. You can sign up your foursome, and all the money, 100% of the money that is raised in this stays here in this community to help out kids, and specifically to help kids to be able to play soccer, to be able to play, so our boys can play soccer and get the many lessons that a lot of us learn from just playing competitive sports with good organization, good coaching, and a mindset of what a community is supposed to be about. And that's what we're about. So coachggolf.com, and it's on December 8th.
Yeah. And so obviously, sign up's still kind of going on, up until.
Yeah, it'll go on at least through Thanksgiving. Okay. So go ahead and sign up today. It would be great. Right. Because
sooner rather than later.
We would love to have the ability to say no to people, but we're not at that point yet. And now that things are kind of wrapping up again, there's a lot of people feeling really good about what's going on here in town. You look at what Jamie Morrison's got going with volleyball. Obviously, Mike's got a great gig going right now with football. And anyone who went out to Bucky's game on Monday, I hope you've caught your breath, because that's a lot of fun too. And Joni plays tonight, so it'll be great to be in this community, supporting those coaches and supporting all of my friends in town.
Now, you talk about being involved still in the world of college soccer, and you're kind of see them usher in this new era of Texas A&M soccer. A big part of your tenure here was your camps. Is that something that you plan to still be involved in? Is that something that that the university is going to hold on to? Or do you know what the future of your camps will look like?
Well, it's funny because you could go back, it's probably around 2006. And Gary Barnett, who was then the football coach at Colorado, got in some trouble, basically because his camps, which were they were separate from the university, they were accused of using money from the camp as a slush fund to maybe put a little money under the table to some certain people who wore helmets. And so at the time, our president, Robert Gates, went to our great athletic director, Bill Byrne, and as I understand it, said, "Now, Bill, our camps are all institutional. We don't do anything. We're not going to get ourselves in trouble like is happening in Colorado." And I think Bill might have been thinking about going private for everything. Oh no, sir, absolutely. Everything's institutional. So we've been institutional all the way through. It is Texas A&M's camp. I mean, it's a big business. It's the biggest camp in the country by far. It is the Texas A&M soccer camp is the same size as all of the other sport camps at Texas A&M. The other 18 sports combined is what, plus a little bit more equals the A&M camp. Now, you don't just open the window and ask people to come to camp. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But we always looked at the camp as a recruiting piece, not so much recruiting juniors and seniors in high school, but recruiting kids because you only get one chance at a first impression. And a lot of times the first impression might be to 10, 11-year-olds, so that when they start thinking about what college looks like, you want them to think about it looks like College Station, Texas. Right. And it's always been helpful. You know, so many of our players were campers when they were 12. But as athletes get busier and busier, their summers become busier. They don't have the opportunities to do a lot of these things. And we wanted to kind of play the long game and get ahead of it. So whatever the university decides on that is what will happen. Kurt Magnuson does a great job of organizational stuff behind the scenes. You know, Phil Stevenson, who was our associate head coach for so long, did a wonderful job with, creating just an amazing curriculum that went along with it. And it's evolved, and all the pieces have evolved over time. So it'll be interesting to see if they don't want us in it, on how it will evolve or devolve. So hopefully it's not the latter.
And as they find the next head coach, some big shoes to fill, obviously, with what you were able to accomplish in this time. Just how would you like to see this program evolve? And I guess what would you say to the next regime of how you would like to see the direction of Texas A&M soccer go?
Well, it'll all be up to the university as far as what the university wants. And for the longest time, if you look at our facility compared to the rest of the facilities on campus, are not even comparable. Of course, if you love like middle school facilities and everything else, then the soccer facility is definitely the best facility on the planet. Now, it might not be the best facility on West Campus or anywhere on campus, but a lot of that is, we were passed over to take care of all the other programs. And, we'll come back to you, you're next, but we got to put this fire out. We got to put that fire out. Well, and that went on for a long time. We kept winning. But since the NIL period has come around, since a lot of these things have come around, the programs that get fed are the programs that are going to flourish. Yeah. You look at football right now. I mean, those kids are being well fed, and they're flourishing because of the right leadership with Mike Elko and his group. If you don't put the right gas in the engine, it's not going to run. And that's a little bit of the soccer program has been not so much in Trev Albert's regime, but past regimes, it's been the gasoline has been passed out to other engines, and it can be great. It can be a great program. We've beaten a lot of number one teams in the country here at Ellis Field because of what the 12th man does. But it's got to be a little bit more than that. So one of the things that I hope to do in the time I have remaining on my contract is, getting out, fundraising, doing what I can so that whoever the next coach is, that we're going to support her or him to the fullest. But they need money.
Yeah.
They have to be able to. The facility is not up to par, and it's got to be increased. There have to be upgrades. If you want to treat players like champions, like you do on the other sports, then treat the team that keeps winning championships like champions, and take care of those kids and take care of the next generation of kids. So I hope that we can build up a little bit of a financial war chest to help out with that, and then leave this place in a little bit better place than people thought it could ever be.
Yeah. Well, G, I appreciate it, and congrats again on the retirement and the amazing career at Texas A&M. And we'll, of course, see you around. We'll see you December 8th out at Traditions as well.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, but yeah, thank you for your time. And congrats.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I've always appreciated. I think my first interview was with Daryl back at, like I said,
that makes sense.
At the old Southwest Park. So thank you, and you'll see me around. I'll be out there rooting for all my friends.